now have these tools to reach so many people. All of a sudden we look around and say, well,
this is the first college where
when I started this project, looking at life in the digital age, the first person I turned to was my friend Douglas Rushkoff, whom I've worked with on 2 previous films. Doug's been writing about the internet for close to 2 years, on the campus of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Cambridge.
If anyone is a new species of digital native, it would be the MIT student. I mean,
These kids are among the smartest, most wired people on the planet right now. Everywhere you go on this campus, kids are looking at screens, sometimes multiple screens.
Do you want an email back?
I was productive on Saturday. I wish I went out Friday.
Take Eliza. She's 20, a mechanical engineering major, and completely wired all the time.
Talking to your friend at the same time you're talking to your other friend, same time you're emailing another friend about
Every professor who looks out onto a sea of students these days knows there's email, Facebook, Googling me, Googling them, Googling their next door neighbor that's happening.
There are 2 sorts of things you can test students about. You can test how well they're paying attention in lecture, and you can test how well they're absorbing information from readings that you assign. And I don't think they're doing either of those things well. I have no idea how that's possible. I just gave my class a midterm, and I was really asking obvious questions that had they been attending carefully in lecture and had they been doing the readings carefully, everyone should have gotten 100% on this exam, and the mean score was probably about a 75%. It's not that the students are dumb. It's not that they're not trying. I think they're trying in a way that's not as effective as it could be because they're distracted by everything else.
So I teach at MIT, I teach the most brilliant students in the world. But they have done themselves a disservice by drinking the Kool-Aid and believing that a multitasking learning environment will serve their best purposes.
Well, I have 25 in the last 15 minutes.
I feel like the professors here do have to accept that we can multitask very well and that we do at all times. And so if they try and, restrict us from doing it, it's almost unfair because we are completely capable moving in between lecture and other things.
What's really going on in the brain?
MRI studies we're going to be seeing. But when it comes to what parts of the brain, we know nothing. These are really the first studies of brain imaging of multitaskers versus non-multitaskers. So anything we discover here is new because we know 0. Now, in this lab here, we're researching speaking on the cell phone while driving.
Tell me about a time when you had to deal with a difficult person.
You walk around the world and you see people multitasking. They're playing games and they're reading email and they're on Facebook, etc. Yet classic psychology says that's impossible. No one can do that. In general, our brains can't do 2 things at once. And we want to ask the question, how do they do it? Do they have some secret ingredient, some special ability that psychologists had no idea about, or what's going on?
You guys were chosen because you're very high.
The experiment looks simple. Identify numbers as odd or even, letters as vowels or consonants. But it's rife with traps in the form of distractions. NASA's testing how quickly these kids can switch between tasks without losing their focus.
I'm pretty much constantly texting, and whenever I study, I have my laptop out and listening to
Brian
music.
is a junior.
I'm watching a YouTube video, I'm checking my email, nonstop refreshing the page, I'm on Facebook chat.
He's pretty confident that his multitasking is successful.
So that I can always stay connected.
So you think you're effective?
I think so.
Okay.
But his results, like others NASA's tested, suggested otherwise.
And what we found was that you're actually significantly slower when you're switching than when you're doing kind of the same task consistently.
Virtually all multitaskers think they are brilliant at multitasking. And one of the big discoveries is, you know what, you're really lousy at it. It turns out multitaskers are terrible at every aspect of multitasking. They get distracted constantly. Their memory is very disorganized. Recent work we've done suggests they're worse at analytic reasoning. We worry that it may be creating people who are unable to think well and clearly.
It's not just you, it's everyone.